I saw an article in the New York Post this week, and I said to myself, this is right up Rich's alley. It's right in our backyard at Kennedy Airport. There was a major breach on the tarmac at JFK Airport where an absolute lunatic got on the tarmac at JFK Airport. I said, this should never happen. How could this crazy thing happen? And the man to fill us in on the details is our aviation expert to fill in the blanks and get to the bottom of this. Let's give it up for our aviation expert, Rich Kaplan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everybody. Skies above us are clear, and we are cleared for takeoff, so let's fly. On this edition, there was a major security breach at the American Airlines terminal. Now, for those not familiar with JFK, this is Terminal 8. Terminal 8 houses American, Qatar Airways, Air Berlin, Finnair, and LAN. What makes this breach so severe, as Howie alluded and pointed out, is that the individual penetrated the runway itself, the taxiways actually. Now in FAA terminology, this is known as a runway incursion, but this was more than that. This individual was mouthing about how he wanted to blow up the planes at the gate. Now, this is something that very rarely ever happens. Now, not to say there haven't been other security breaches. I will allude to that in a couple of minutes. But what makes this breach so egregious is that it wasn't Port Authority who was alerted to it. It was Air Traffic Control that spotted him. Now, for those of you who fly out of JFK, you're familiar with the control tower. It sits at Terminal 4. It's about almost 375, 400 feet tall. There is a guy up there with binoculars watching the runways to make sure that planes don't hit each other. The last thing this guy is expecting is to see some deranged lunatic running towards an airplane. And it's not a worker. One of the beautiful things about post 9/11 is that now every airline employee wears a photo ID badge. So they know who's who. You cannot fake these badges. Many have tried, none have succeeded. Port Authority also knows who's who. The police do probably one of the best jobs I've ever seen of any law enforcement branch. Day in, day out, they patrol the runways looking for anything from falcons to lunatics like this. Fortunately, the individual was caught, but very little information has come out about how he penetrated security, how he got onto the tarmac. I personally do have some suspicions. I'm going to allude to it now. When we fly, we are all familiar with the gates. We also know that every aircraft has a scheduled arrival and a scheduled departure. It doesn't take much for someone to figure out when a plane is leaving and when a gate is vacant, and they can just simply go through there. What I believe that the government needs to do is allocate more funds to train Homeland Security agents, plainclothes people, to watch these gates like hawks, so we know who is who belongs and who doesn't. I will never assign blame on any one individual. It's not my place. As a watchdog, my place is to make sure the industry is aware of it, the flying public is aware of it, and the people that live by the airports are aware of it, so that this way their voices are heard when meetings take place. I think what needs to be done is that our beloved Senator Chuck Schumer needs to weigh in on this like he's weighed in on gun control, and he needs to give the FAA more authority. Most recently, the FAA has taken an interest in drones. They just passed a law now that we have to register drones in order to operate them. I just bought one. I got to register mine.
Question about drones. When's the registration deadline for drones from the FAA?
They haven't mandated a deadline as of yet, but they are starting it. I know if it's under 50 pounds, it's a $5 fee, good for 2 years, and you just can't operate them within a 5-mile radius of an airport, and they're doing it just to monitor so they know who's who.
We need to stay on top to find out what the actual compliance would be of people actually registering these things.
I couldn't agree with you more. I actually have friends in NYPD who even said now that they're illegal to operate in the city, the 5 boroughs. You have to let them know before you fly one. But what I think has happened is that the industry has become so complacent to so many different things. 2 weeks ago, I did a story on Qatar Airways and the A350 and how it overshot. and aborted its takeoff when it had all the room in the world to do it. That's just an example of how, unless someone makes somebody aware, unless someone says something, like a whistleblower, these things get swept under the rug all the time. And what I'm trying to do is make the industry aware of it. I'm trying to make the lawmakers aware of it. I'm trying to make the flying public and the communities aware of it, so this never happens again. The tarmac is the most dangerous place for an ordinary person to be. I can allude to a number of reasons. The most graphic incident happened years ago when US Airways changed its paint scheme to a dark blue, and in the night, a Dash 8, which is a propeller plane, came in. A maintenance worker happened to be walking down the runway unbeknownst that the plane was just starting up and was killed when the propeller literally... It is a very dangerous place. There is a reason why the FAA and why the Port Authority, even myself, I will not go on the tarmac unless I have an escort, because anything can happen. This individual was able to go on the tarmac, and if that controller had not been aware, and if not had the peace of mind to alert the necessary authorities, who knows what could have happened. And this cannot happen, and it will not happen. As long as people like myself and people like you in the community make their voices heard, this is how you get the airports to do what they need to do to make flying safe. I conclude with a very simple statement Port Authority airs all the time. If you see something, please say something, because it's only up to us in the long run. As an aviation photographer, I've called 911 twice and prevented 2 incidents. One was a photographer who strayed into LaGuardia and almost hit an airplane. The other incident was I saw an individual hanging by the fence. They came, they did what they need to do, and they thanked me. It's only when we say something that things get done and we're all safe in the skies. And on that note, the skies are now clear as I can tell, and we've just been cleared for takeoff. See you next week.
Great job, Richard. I got to tell you, folks, I saw that article in the New York Post. Within 5 minutes, I was on the phone to Rich. He was all over it, and I knew, like every aviation report I ever gave him, that he would do a phenomenal job reporting on it. So let's give it up for Rich Kaplan. Fantastic job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And especially hit home because it was so close to us. JFK is, 10, 15 minutes away from us here in Long Beach. So very, very important topic. All right, so, again, let's thank the Corbetts for the hospitality.
Thank you.
So happy they're back at home, a lovely, beautiful family. And did everyone have a great time at the Corbetts? Thanks to everybody for coming. And let's thank some of the people who made this show special. How about our 2 singers, Jake Mazzone and Eric Francis? For the surfing report, Dane DePasquale. His mom, Lisa, with Alzheimer's. Inspiration with Joe Satriano. The movie review, Rocco Pasafume. Rich Kaplan with aviation. Kathy, thanks for sharing on that terrible situation that happened a week ago in Long Beach. But we want to wish everyone a happy and healthy New Year. We're so thrilled to be here sharing the amazing Corbett family. And Mary Ellen, we want to be with you someday when you get back in your beautiful home.
Absolutely.
It's been a great show. Thanks for sharing the food. Especially this was so amazing. I couldn't love it more. Everything was so great. We love the Corbetts. We love being here. And again, for this video, it's going to be on our Halftime Howie show on Facebook and Halftime Howie channel on YouTube. So make sure you tune in. And on that note, I got to wrap with this. My name is Halftime. I want to thank you for your time. Please join us next Sunday for the edition of Halftime. But at this time, we are out of time. See you next.